Inside the Magic, show number 477 for May 25th, 2014. It is Sunday, May 25th, 2014. This is show 477 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with another fun show packed with Disney and theme park news. A lot of really interesting things happening this week. Before I get to all of it, I invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, or anything else, you can always email me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is once again brought to you by Magical Travel. Free dining is back for travel to Walt Disney World between August 31st and almost the end of the year, December 23rd. Most dates are included. Certain restrictions do apply, but you're going to want to book now for the best availability by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic when you do that to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to Mark Shackelford for your donation this week, and to all contributors to the show. I thank each and every one of you. And now let's get started with a trip around the world. So it was a rather exhausting weekend for many a Disney fan, both out here in Florida and California, because both Walt Disney World and Disneyland held yet another 24-hour day. This time it was the Rock Your Disney Side party. Began 6 a.m. on Friday morning and continued all the way through to 6 a.m. on Saturday at the Magic Kingdom out here, as well as both Disneyland and Disney California Adventure in California, naturally. Out here, it all began with a very similar sort of opening moment as the past two versions of these 24-hour days, sort of the standard opening for the day out there in front of the train station, or on the train station of the Magic Kingdom, except they added in sort of the theme this year was to feature heroes and villains. So in attendance for the opening ceremony were Aurora, Maleficent, Peter Pan, Captain Hook, Snow White, the Evil Queen, Mickey, and Minnie Mouse. Some fireworks went off very briefly, just a quick blast, and there it was, the beginning of 24 hours at the Magic Kingdom. You can see video of everything I just described over on our website and our YouTube channel. 3 hours after that, at 6 a.m. California time, their opening moment actually had a little bit of a celebrity-infused entertainment, because Frozen star Josh Gad was there, a surprise out in the Esplanade, standing next to an 18,000-pound sand sculpture of Olaf, naturally. Of course, Gad voiced Olaf for Frozen. He helped to kick off the event at Disneyland. So that was, fireworks and all that happened out there. And you can check out some photos and video of that as well on our website. Proceeding throughout the 24 hours, Walt Disney World had a webcam set up for those who couldn't be there up on the train station pointing into Town Square and down Main Street. And Disneyland actually had 4 webcams set up throughout both of the parks. So it was 5 simultaneous views, live views for 24 hours, which was pretty neat. Unfortunately, they've shut them down now, so don't expect to be able to see them, but it was neat while it lasted. Of course, this 24-hour day concept first started back on February 29th, 2012, because it was leap year, leap day, and that was the One More Disney Day, and then last year was the Monstrous Summer. Now this year, Rock Your Disney Side, and people definitely rocked their Disney side. That is Disney bounding and coming in costume, and a lot of guests showed up in various character-inspired attire throughout the party, which was pretty fun to see. But things got really exciting at night at the Magic Kingdom as the Disney villains took over. There was a new character cavalcade that rolled through just ahead of the Main Street Electrical Parade, a pre-parade. Disney called it It's Good to Be Bad, which, if you know the Boo to You Halloween parade during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, that phrase should sound familiar. They played a remix of the It's Good to Be Bad music that happens during that, and there were a lot of villain characters that were part of this cavalcade, including a few surprises. Oogie Boogie was there, which the last time we saw him was on Friday the 13th, many months ago, and it was last year, and that was kind of the craziness over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where people waited hours and hours and hours to meet Oogie Boogie. Well, he was back. Unfortunately, he wasn't meeting and greeting at the Magic Kingdom. He was just in this pre-parade, but along with him were Megara and Hades, Pain and Panic, Dr. Facilier, Captain Hook, Evil Queen, Maleficent, Queen of Hearts, Bowler Hat Guy, Cruella de Vil, Cinderella's evil stepsisters, Big Bad Wolf, Frollo, Sheriff of Nottingham, Jafar, and Stromboli from Pinocchio. That was definitely one of those very rare characters that was out, and he was meeting and greeting with people. But I want to play a little sample here of the music that was played during that pre-parade. Again, this will sound sort of familiar, but it's definitely a remixed, kind of like auto-tuned version of the It's Good to Be Bad song. So here's what it sounded like as it rolled through the Magic Kingdom for the first time.
As they revel in just how good it is to be bad.
A little repetitive there, but there you go. That's what it sounded like as the pre-parade rolled through. And, of course, you can see lots of video and photos of that event over on our website and YouTube channel as well. Now, many of those characters stayed out following the... it was 2 performances of the Main Street Electrical Parade, and then after the second one, a lot of those characters replaced their corresponding heroes in the park, like Dr. Facilier replaced Tiana and her meet and greet, and, etc. So they all kind of swapped out Maleficent instead of Aurora, and so on. So the ones that attracted the most attention were definitely Megara and Hades. People had lined up for hours in advance of their appearance, and then they finally came out after 2 a.m., and the line was long enough to last all the way until the very end of this 24-hour day. So a lot of excitement there, as well as in Princess Fairy Tale Hall. They took over half of it and calling it Scary Tale Hall, and put a couple of villains in there, and that, when it first opened, had a posted wait time of 300 minutes, which I don't think it was actually that long, but that's just where it began, and they maybe whittled it down from there. But the biggest surprise of the evening was something that not all guests got to experience. Tucked away deep inside Cinderella Castle was a very special meet and greet for some guests received tickets to attend this. I'm not even honestly sure how they got the tickets out here in Florida. It was some sort of surprise giveaway of some sort in the park. And inside Cinderella Castle was Maleficent, but not classic Maleficent. This was new live-action Angelina Jolie movie Maleficent. Now, Angelina Jolie was not actually there. That would have been crazy, but it was somebody who very much resembled her. A really excellent Angelina Jolie look-alike, portraying that character and doing a spot-on job with it. Her facial expressions and her mannerisms and her just everything about her presence really embodied that character, and they did a fantastic job with it. And I had a chance to talk to her just a little bit. She was very soft-spoken, but I think that was on purpose to retain her, subtly sinister side. So here's my rather brief conversation with this live-action movie version of Maleficent. Hello, Maleficent. How are you?
Good evening.
How are you enjoying the Magic Kingdom at 3 in the morning?
Is it 3?
It is.
Past your bedtime?
Maybe a little bit.
I hope you sleep very well tonight.
Are you excited about everybody seeing your movie?
Of course.
And before she answered that question there at the end, she kind of looked off to the side and gave a very perfect sort of sinister grin that was straight out of the Maleficent trailer that everybody has seen. So you definitely need to go watch the video of that on our YouTube channel as well, because it's shocking how much this character looked like Angelina Jolie as Maleficent, which I'm looking forward to seeing that movie this week. Hopefully it is very good. So that's kind of the recap of the 24-hour day. It was a lot of other, sort of little things going on, dance parties and photo ops and that sort of thing. But really, it was just a chance for everybody to go to the park and have fun. I didn't make it quite all the way till 6 a.m., nor I was there since 6 a.m. I kind of went much later in the day, and I ended up being in the park for about 7 hours, I think. I left a little bit before 4 a.m., which was enough for me, so I could still, actually get some sleep. But it was fun, and I know a lot of people did stay for the full 24 hours, and it seems like it was very well attended, pretty well organized. Everybody had a lot of fun. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train had, essentially is in full soft opening now. It opened for the full entirety of the 24 hours and remained open the following day, this weekend, and continues to be open. So even though the official opening isn't until the 28th, just a few days from now, it's pretty much open at this point. So that's good news for everybody. It seemed like everyone was really enjoying riding that. I went and rode it one more time that night and had a blast. So overall, this version of the 24-hour Disney day seemed to go over very well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again in the future. Now, here's some other things that were going on at the Magic Kingdom this week. A few days prior, Tinkerbell has moved away from her Adventureland magical nook that she and her fairy friends had moved into 3 years ago. Tinkerbell is now meeting in the Town Square Theater with FastPass Plus and all of that, but her fairy friends are not. They are no longer part of the meet and greet experience at the Magic Kingdom, so it's just Tinkerbell in sort of a similar-looking environment, but deep inside Town Square Theater instead, and the Magical Nook is now closed. Also, around Walt Disney World, not just the Magic Kingdom, there's this new ice cream item that you can order called Mickey's Kitchen Sink Sundae. Now, you know about the Kitchen Sink, the massive ice cream sundae that's Beaches and Cream. Well, this is sort of a somewhat smaller version of it in a plastic kitchen sink of sorts that you can keep that's Mickey-themed. Well, when it first debuted a few weeks ago, it was like $25 out here at Walt Disney World. Meanwhile, at Disneyland, it was only like $12 or $13. So now they've figured out a way to drop the price out here. I mean, there was different ingredients and different sizes of them, so it was bigger out here. But now they've found a sort of happy medium, and it's now $15 out here in Florida and $12 in California, because again, it's still different ingredients, different toppings, different amounts of ice cream, etc. But very close to being the same thing now. Here's a special event that is coming up in a couple of weeks. On June 13th is the inaugural Fittipaldi Cup at the Walt Disney World Speedway, in which guests who pay for this experience can compete in a racing competition with Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, muscle cars, and even go-karts. It costs $999 to participate, but you get to do a whole lot of driving, and the ultimate winner of the entire competition gets to take home the first ever Fittipaldi Cup trophy. So if you're a big into driving, that might be an excellent opportunity for you. If you're not that big into it, well, that's a lot of money. Now, of course, I've been talking about My Magic Plus and FastPass Plus for a long time now. In fact, this week I even wrote an article about sort of where it all began, the development process of it, how it started, how it got to be where it is now, and a little bit looking toward the future. So if you want to read more in depth about all of that with some interviews, head over to InsideTheMagic.net and look for that article. But that aside, the Orlando Sentinel just reported a couple of days ago that Nick Franklin, who is the executive vice president for the Next Gen project, which is basically My Magic Plus for Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, he oversaw the development of My Magic Plus. He is leaving Disney now that My Magic Plus has kind of officially rolled out, although they're still tweaking things. I guess he's decided that his work there is done. He's been with the company for many years. I think it was like 17 years, but in July he'll be leaving Disney just on his own accord, and he's been with Disney since 1996, so quite a while, but now he's done his thing, and I guess is ready to move on. So now let's jump over to Universal Orlando with a lot of really exciting news this week with, of course, the biggest excitement going on over there and really anywhere in the world of theme parks right now is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter expansion, Diagon Alley, over at Universal Studios Florida, and quite a lot came out this week about that, starting with I received an itinerary for the big unveiling press hoopla that's going to be going on in the middle of next month, and found out a little bit of details as to what that's all going to include. I had previously said that the grand media event for this was going to be 4 days long. Well, it's really actually not. It's only really 1.5 days of Potter-themed things. Then there's other items that are going on with the schedule. But as far as Harry Potter goes, there's going to be one full media day, of course, because they want to show off all of Diagon Alley. And other than that, there's going to be a nighttime red carpet event where the select film stars will show up. They haven't said which ones will be there, but hopefully it'll be as grand as last time around with a lot of the biggest stars. One thing absent from the itinerary is a grand opening of some sort, or a moment, or a date, or anything. Universal still has not confirmed the official opening date of Diagon Alley. Everyone's kind of thinking, well, it's got to be right after this press event, but that's not confirmed just yet. But they are including the full grand opening of the Cabana Bay Beach Resort during this event, in addition to all the Potter stuff. Since there's still the other half of Cabana Bay to open, with a whole other wing of rooms, and a lazy river, another pool, and a whole lot more. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of that as well. That's all taking place in the middle of June, but something else is also taking place in the middle of June that was announced this week, that The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is going to be taping here in Orlando just in time for that preview of Diagon Alley as well. In fact, the taping dates for The Tonight Show are going to be June 16th through 19th, which overlaps a little bit with the press event, which is the 17th, 18th, and 19th. The list of celebrities and performers that will be part of the Tonight Show tapings at Universal Orlando will be Jennifer Lopez, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Kevin Hart, Jimmy Buffett, Tracy Morgan, the band Fun, and Pitbull. Pitbull. And so tickets were very, very briefly available for free, but they disappeared in a flash. So they are all gone at this point. However, The Tonight Show is hosting a contest to bring 22 winners to the VIP preview of Diagon Alley and see the tapings as well. So you're going to want to check their website to find out more about the potential for winning a trip to see all of that. And I will be going to one of those Tonight Show tapings, so that should be fun. I've not exactly been following Jimmy Fallon's adventures because I've been loyal to Conan O'Brien for basically since the beginning of his first show years and years and years ago. I've been watching him regularly, almost every night. So I followed him to the Tonight Show and then away from the Tonight Show. So, but I do like Jimmy Fallon, so I'm looking forward to seeing his show as well. But there is more really, really big, literally big Diagon Alley news that just this weekend, the kind of the crowning jewel of Diagon Alley has shown up by crane. The massive, extremely detailed dragon has been lifted and put on top of Gringotts Bank. It will eventually have big wings and breathe fire. The wings aren't there yet, and the fire certainly isn't either, but it's in progress. They are working on installing it now, but you can definitely see it already from the surrounding areas. They quickly surrounded it by a lot of scaffolding and tarps, so you couldn't see all of it, but you still see its giant neck and head and tail way up. And I mean, you walk around from the park for Mel's drive-in over to the Simpsons area, and anywhere you have an eye shot of the London waterfront area in front of Diagon Alley, you can see the dragon up overhead, over the top of it. So that's definitely going to be the weenie of the area of you're going to see the fireball, and it'll draw your attention over there, as if your attention needs to be taken over to the Harry Potter expansion more than it already will be. But it should be pretty exciting once all of that is complete. Head over to the website, our website, to see some photos of the dragon. It's a little spoilery, but I mean, it's out there. It's you can't miss it. So you should. It's an incredible sculpture. For this thing to be sitting up there, it looks so very, very realistic. It's really, really quite a sight. Here's a little bit more Universal Orlando news. Actually, before I get to that, I've got one more Potter-related story here. Universal Orlando has also announced a special Diagon Alley vacation package that will include early access to the Wizarding World. That's starting June 29th. So they are basically saying that, yes, Diagon Alley will be open by June 29th. So somewhere in between the press event and June 29th, it's going to officially open. It seems likely that it'll be the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, something like that. But it'll definitely be by the 29th. Now, in other Universal Orlando news, Halloween Horror Nights construction has begun already, and a detail has come out as well regarding one of the live shows. They've previously said, several weeks ago, they said there will be 8 haunted houses this year, multiple street experiences, and 2 live shows. Well, now a casting call went out to hire performers for the return of the Rocky Horror Picture Show tribute. So that will be back once again, and likely the other live show will be Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. They haven't confirmed that yet, but that's been going on for almost as long as Horror Nights has, so it's highly likely that those will be the 2 shows this year. Auditions are going to be taking place June 3rd and June 8th for Rocky Horror Picture Show tribute. So if you are interested in performing in that, you'll want to check out the Universal Orlando website or the casting section of that. Also, one more Universal bit here over in City Walk. Recently, was talking about Antojitos, the Mexican restaurant that has opened there. Really great restaurant. Well, now it is open for lunch service as well. There's no gap between lunch and dinner. It's open during the day and then just goes straight into dinner service at night. And the menu is actually almost identical between day and night, except they have this great sandwich that is now available there that I had today as I was walking around Universal and taking a lot of photos and just kind of having fun. Lunch sandwich was really good. So definitely worth checking out there, day or night. Let's continue a little bit more north to a park that I haven't really talked much about in the essentially the history of Inside the Magic. It's Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I've never been there personally, but I do now have a reporter there named Emily, who is part of their Blogger Ambassador program, which essentially means she's going to be covering absolutely everything Busch Gardens, Williamsburg for the next year or so for us, which is great. They just debuted a new show there called London Rocks. It's a combination of live singing and dancing and special lighting and animation effects and projections. And so if you want to see more about that, you can watch a little video clips and see some photos, and as well as her review of the show all over at InsideTheMagic.net. And coming up soon, there'll be some info from their water park. They just debuted a new slide, I believe, and then their food and wine event as well. So more to come from Busch Gardens Williamsburg as we continue to expand the coverage of Inside the Magic. But back down here in Orlando, here's something that I will definitely be at quite a bit, as I have been in the past. Coming up this weekend is Spooky Empire's Mayhem event. This time it's taking place at the Doubletree Hotel across from Universal Orlando. It's May 30th through June 1st. I'm going to be there for all 3 days. I'm actually going to be taking pictures for Spooky Empire as well as for Inside the Magic, so I'll be running around the entirety of the convention. And this year, they've got quite a lot to look forward to. There's a new Day of the Dead opening celebration that's going to kick off the weekend with a lot of makeup artists making people over into, Mexican Day of the Dead kind of look. Nyx from Face Off is going to be there as one of the makeup artists, so that's pretty cool. Sci-Fi's Face Off. There's going to be a costume contest with cash prizes, and then there's going to be quite a few Disney celebrities there. Pat Carroll, the voice of Ursula, is returning. Last year she was a smash success there. She did the Ursula voice as the Haunted Mansion ghost host, if you remember that. And quite a lot more. She told some great stories, so I'm really looking forward to seeing her again. In addition, a whole lot of Once Upon a Time cast members will be there. The ABC show. Lana Parrilla, Rebecca Mader, Sean McGuire, Freya Tingley, I may have pronounced that wrong, and Jason Burkhart are going to be there in a panel and signing autographs and whatnot, as well as 2 actors from the Pirates of the Caribbean film series will be there as well. Outside of the world of Disney, other notable names will be horror director John Carpenter, Robert Englund, and Heather Langenkamp from A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's Freddy Krueger himself. Will be there. Jamie Kennedy from Scream, and many, many more. There's also going to be a great new version of the Mucklebones Museum, which has a tribute to classic Halloween imagery, as well as a charity event called the It's Alive Project, that they're using these busts of the Bride of Frankenstein, and I think 100 different artists have sort of offered their really unique, sculptures and paint and artwork surrounding these busts. Should be quite a sight to see, and all of that goes to charity as well. Find out more information about this convention at spookyempire.com. If you're going to be there, I will see you there, because I will be there the whole time. Except Saturday night. I'm going to Universal to go see Huey Lewis in the News for Mardi Gras, because I've never seen Huey Lewis live, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now, speaking of conventions, let's jump coasts out to Disneyland for some really fun news. Now, Disneyland has not announced any plans. In fact, I don't think they have any plans to really celebrate the 45th anniversary of the Haunted Mansion. They're going to do some merchandise releases, maybe a small merchandise event, but no sort of huge anniversary event. So, the convention Scare LA, in its second year, is going to celebrate that anniversary in a pretty big way on August 9th. Of this year. August 9th is the anniversary, the 45th anniversary to the day of the Haunted Mansion. That's also the first day of the Scare LA convention in downtown LA, and because of that, there's going to be a presentation by Jeff Bayham from doombuggies.com. He's calling the presentation When Hinges Creak, which is entirely appropriate, and joining him in the presentation will be Disney legend, former Imagineer, and Doombuggy designer Bob Gurr. I will be out there for that for sure, and you should be too, because that sounds really exciting. Then the next day on August 10th, there's going to be a presentation from Universal Studios Hollywood for Halloween Horror Nights, and they're going to reveal something fun. So definitely looking forward to all of that and the other fun, spooky stuff that'll be going on there. ScareLA.com is where you can find out more information about that. Now, let's move on to some movie news with more really, really big news from this week. Director J.J. Abrams, of course, is working on Star Wars Episode 7. Production has already begun, and he recently sent out this week a video update from the set of Star Wars in Abu Dhabi. It looks very deserty, of course, Tatooine sort of look, and he was doing that because there's a contest, an opportunity to actually appear in the movie, and it's all going to charity. You'll be if you manage to win this contest, there will be a winner. You will be flown to Pinewood Studios in London, not to Abu Dhabi, but to London when they're filming there. You'll get a behind-the-scenes look at the set of Episode 7. You'll see filming. You'll meet the cast, and you will be transformed into a Star Wars character to be in the movie. And then it includes flight and hotel, flight for 2 people to go to London, etc. So pretty awesome opportunity. There's other prizes they're giving away as well. Now, Now, it's not free to enter because this is all going to charity. So you go to omaze.com, that's OMAZE.com, and you can purchase entries, basically. A certain dollar amount gives you one entry or two entries or 10,000 entries or however much you want to contribute, and then you might win a little collectible or you might win the whole thing. So pretty exciting there. Now, what was also exciting about this video is not only was J.J. Abrams in it, but also walking up behind him was this creature of some sort carrying a whole lot of stuff on his back, and it looked very Jim Henson-y. And Jim Henson Company apparently had nothing to do with any of this, but it gave you that feel. It was a real on-set creature, which I think was the point of including it there. It was to show, hey, we're not doing just CG in this film. We're doing real puppeteering and real on-set creatures, which is fantastic. They keep saying they're trying to go back to the original look and feel of the the original trilogy, and this just sort of solidifies that. It looks great. You can watch that video over on our website, and definitely if you're one of the lucky, or if you are the lucky person to be in the movie, I want to hear all about it. That's not the only big Star Wars news this week. It was revealed that the first of several spin-off standalone Star Wars movies is in the works. It has a release date, a director, and a writer, though we don't know what it's called or who's it going to be focusing on. But it's in addition to the Star Wars trilogy, the new trilogy, December 16th, 2016. That's less than a year after Episode 7 comes out. We're going to get a spin-off movie that's going to be directed by Gareth Edwards, who just recently directed Godzilla. That's doing very well in theaters. It's going to be written by Gary Whitta, whose screenwriting credits include The Book of Eli, as well as Telltale Games' video game adaptation of The Walking Dead, which is very well written. So pretty exciting things to look forward to in the world of Star Wars. This movie could be focusing on a really well-known character, or it could be something new. We don't know, but lots to look forward to. Now, there was a little bit of disappointing news, however, this week in the world of Marvel movies, as it was announced that Edgar Wright is no longer directing Ant-Man. He's been developing this film for quite a long time, putting his sort of unique style on it. He's well known for Scott Pilgrim, for example. Very unique directing style, and he was going to take that and make Ant-Man fit his mold, but apparently creative differences, as they say, has now separated him from that project, and Marvel is seeking out somebody new. So, I don't know. We'll wait and see where that goes. Also in the world of movies, Walt Disney Animation Studios this week released the first full teaser trailer for Big Hero 6, which is their first full-length animated film based on a Marvel property, a very obscure Marvel property, but it looks like it's going to be pretty good. I saw a little bit of snippets, previews, early stuff back at the D23 Expo. Now there's this teaser trailer, which you can see over at our website, along with the new poster. The movie comes out this year on November 7th, so I am looking forward to it. Now, in the world of video games, there was a web browser-based game called Star Wars Attack Squadrons that was in beta testing for quite a while. I played it. I really enjoyed it. It was very simple, sort of outer space combat fun. Well, it's been canceled. Didn't even have a chance. I guess, they went through a few beta tests and then decided, you know what, we're just not going to do this. So, unfortunately, if you were a fan of that, move on, because it's not happening. And now the final bit of news this week is another really, really big bit of news. In fact, as this was going around this week, I think this was the biggest single news story that had been ever on InsideTheMagic.net, just because it got passed around so much. When it was announced, Disney on Ice is developing a new touring production based on Frozen. It will debut in September here in Orlando. It will have a cast of 39 performers, and Frozen on Ice, which is, that's a little repetitive. Frozen on Ice will follow the story, of course, of Anna and Elsa and Olaf and Kristoff and Sven and the trolls. All of those characters will be in there, skating around on ice. There will be a blizzard created by snow machines, a snowflake-shaped stage, video projections that make it look like Arendelle and the North Mountain. It will include songs songs like Let It Go, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, even Fixer Upper. And in addition to all the Frozen characters, Mickey and Minnie Mouse will be there at the sort of acting as the hosts at the beginning and end of the show. Also joined by Disney princesses, characters from Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Lion King. The show's being directed by Patty Vincent and also being developed with the help of John Lasseter. And rehearsals will begin in July. Tickets officially go on sale June 3rd, which is next week at DisneyOnIce.com. However, there have been a lot of pre-sale codes being passed around already, and the show is selling out like crazy. So if you don't have a ticket already to Frozen Disney on Ice, you're going to want to go to DisneyOnIce.com as soon as possible to buy your ticket. There have been a few pre-sale codes that have been passed around, including the word early, the word social. You could try those, see if you're able to find any tickets. It's definitely going to be a big event. I bought tickets for the opening night here in Orlando, so I'm looking forward to seeing... I've never seen a Disney on Ice show before, and of course Frozen is huge, so I figured I should probably go, since this was, like I said, pretty much the biggest story to ever come across. It's, single link, single day commotion that surrounded this ever on our website, which is crazy. Frozen Mania has no end. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do to pull all this together. There's a little bit of video of Anna and Elsa skating around, along with a whole lot of concept art and costume designs over on our website as well. And even for some reason, this was kind of random and out of nowhere, I got a tweet from Michael Eisner. The actual real... Yes, that Michael Eisner, out of nowhere, he sent me a message on Twitter about Frozen on Ice, which was, So it's that big of a story. So definitely head over to the website if you want to see more about it, and then we'll have to wait till September to see how it all comes together. And that'll do it for your news from around the world this week. And this week's tip comes in from Derek from Tennessee, who offers a whole lot of advice for the Disney dining plan, which is something that I get asked about quite a lot, and I don't really have much experience with. So here are some helpful tips from Derek, who writes, what I have found helpful is the Walt Disney World website itself. It allows you to virtually price your vacation without actually booking it. With just a few clicks of the mouse, you can see how much it would cost to add the dining plan. And also, using Disney's website, you can find menus for the restaurants you're interested in, including prices. You might not know exactly what you'll be hungry for when you're in the parks, but you can get a pretty good idea of how much you'll spend and whether that is more or less than you'll spend on the dining plan. And a few things to remember: the dining plan probably includes more food than you'll actually eat. It includes a dessert for every meal. So while it might seem like a good bargain, you have to ask yourself, if I don't get the dining plan, will I really order or even need that much food? It's convenient for those who don't like to carry a lot of cash or keep track of lots of debit card payments, so many find the convenience is alone worth the added price. The dining plan does not, however, include tip. So if you eat at table service restaurants, don't assume your meal is completely covered already. Derek, thanks very much for those tips. Definitely good advice for the dining plan. Everybody else, email your tips into tips@InsideTheMagic.net. Joining me this week on Inside the Magic from themed entertainment design company PGAV Destinations are Vice President Al Cross, as well as architectural designer Josh Rodriguez, to talk about sort of the ins and outs of what it takes to design attractions and scenic elements for theme parks. Al, Josh, thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks for having us. Hi, it's great to be here.
So I understand that your company has worked on big names theme parks like Universal Studios, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Six Flags. Give me the general perspective of what does that mean for a company like yours to be hired by these companies to work on attractions.
We are usually deeply involved right from the beginning. Often at the strategy level, meaning, often at the moment when it is determined what product will be added to a park, or when it is determined that a park will be built. And then typically what happens is we provide creative and branded, branding thinking, as well as all the design and leadership, if you will, to get the project fully executed, all the way to the point of art direction in the field. So all the consultants that work on a project in themed entertainment, like electrical engineers and animal life support systems consultants and people like that, they tend to be led by us, and we help the client execute their vision beginning to end.
Okay. So, we hear from the parks, their designers a lot. When new rides, new attractions open, you hear from sort of their top, creative directors. So it's those people that are working hand in hand with you to, really make it a reality.
Yeah, we usually work with the park creative leaders to bring about their get an understanding of their brand and basically the stories that they want to tell, and we work with all of our consultants then to bring that to life.
Great. Go ahead.
These people differ in their methods and approaches. So, for example, in the case of Universal, there is a really large and significant in-house creative leadership group called Universal Creative.
Right.
And they produce quite a bit. They begin a project and produce things in different ways than, for example, the people who own and operate Portaventura in Spain. So these people vary widely and wildly in approach, temperament, and point of view, and it's our job to figure that out, learn it, and then understand what we can provide in the varying contexts of each of these kinds of companies.
Yeah, well, it's always fascinating to watch the sort of the development cycle of an attraction. Usually, the public hears about it so many years into it. Give me an example of a recent project that I would have heard of that maybe I've already experienced. That how far back did you work on it, and what did it take to really make it go from concept to completion? One that you're allowed to talk about, of course. I know there's a lot of secrecy in the theme park world.
There absolutely is, and it's literally secrets. What about Hotel Gold River? How long did that take?
Hotel Gold River, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a hotel that opened in Portaventura out in Spain about in 2009. That project was in development. It came about as from a master plan that PJV had done for the park. PJV did the original Portaventura park, and we were brought back in 2004 to develop a new master plan. And so that hotel was one of the first projects to come out of that master plan. And so you could argue that from the moment that it was added to the master plan in 2005 to the moment that it opened, it was about a 4 to 5 year development cycle. It's hard to think about for somebody like me, kind of on the outside of this. What goes on during 4 to 5 years of time? Where I'm sure you're juggling multiple projects during that time, but it's got to be like a lot of back and forth, a lot of what if we do this, what if we do that? I'm sure there's money issues. What are the biggest sort of challenges that makes a project take 4 to 5 years?
Well, usually at least half of a project's development time is actual construction, and sometimes it's less. So
right.
So you have to allow for that, and then it can be difficult to set the right goal. To determine what the product actually ought to be. And so the really important, really big thinking that occurs at the beginning of a project, when the group decides what they're going to do and how they're going to pursue it, is probably the most difficult portion of the project, because it can be, especially if one begins without a clear point of view. You get on a lot of dead ends and blind alleys and take wrong turns. So part of our strategy, part of our success is to actually draw out our clients, come to understand our client's brand very deeply so that we are able to help them draw out the goal as early as possible, because as soon as you set a clear goal, then everything just gets a lot easier. Right? Would you agree with me, Josh, that the hard part is the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's usually in setting the tone, establishing we'll get to this probably in a little bit, but establishing the story and determining what we're trying to do with what the end goal of the project is usually the hardest part. Is what are the parameters?
We did one of my favorite projects is a place called Discovery Cove, which is in Orlando, and it's a place where people can swim with dolphins in the water.
Yeah, I've been there. I love it.
And that project was always a great idea. I mean, we knew obviously everybody knew from the beginning, okay, this was going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But determining what we were going to build and what we were actually after in terms of demographic, length of stay, relationship to the bigger SeaWorld park, how did the place actually work from a kind of a fundamental arithmetic point of view, because these interactions with the animals are timed,
right.
And they're actually a matter of regulation. That took a couple of years.
Wow.
Once we knew what we were doing, honestly, it was the smoothest construction project I've ever been involved with. But there was a great deal of logistical planning, and it's because so much effort was placed on figuring out how to get it right before we really ever drew any of the lines that represented things that actually got built. We drew a lot of lines, but it wasn't for a while before we were drawing lines that were drawings that were going to actually get built.
So once you've sort of settled on that, you've gone around and around and around, and I'm sure countless meetings, and you've decided on these details. What happens when your team actually begins work? I mean, there are artists drawing things, writers writing things. What are the tasks that are involved in the whole creation of one of these attractions or theme parks?
In the case of highly entertaining theme park attractions that include rides that involve, sort of a beginning and middle end story, the first thing that happens is we have to settle on the story.
Mm-hmm.
You got to determine what you're actually saying, and so what we call a story treatment is created. This is the purpose, or this is the goal. This is what we want. These are the feelings we are trying to engender. This is how the ride mechanism or vehicle or theming will support those feelings, and then you can get to the point where you either storyboard it or script it, and properly done, that's a great, pardon the term, blueprint for the rest of the project.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we start.
And as part of that start too, we might find out that in the development, the initial development, maybe the best way to tell whatever story we're trying to tell isn't, it might not be a coaster necessarily. It might be a different type of ride system. So that also falls into that part of the development. And throughout all that, we have all of our folks on the team basically starting off with the bones that will eventually build to the documents that a contractor is going to use eventually to build the project. Once that concept has been nailed down, then we move into the production of documentation that can be used to actually make it real. And throughout all that, there's always meetings to make sure that the initial concept is held to, and it's that the project remains faithful to that throughout the whole way. And then once the documentation is set, then contractor comes on board, or multiple contractors depending on the size of the project, and essentially build it. And throughout that part of the process, our team works with the owner to make sure that the initial vision and the initial concept that we started out with is held to through the construction. That all the details reflect the emotion and the story that we set out to tell initially.
Well, you've mentioned story a few times now, and of course that's a huge part of every theme park attraction out there. Whether you're looking at Disney, who started all of the theme park everything with Disneyland so many decades ago, basing these dark rides and everything on these story-based experience, and now today the stories have just gotten bigger and bigger and more immersive. I understand that you've actually got a book that you're working on publishing called Storytelling, It Can Change Your Mind, in which you've really kind of dive deep into what does it take to craft a great story.
You're right, we do.
Well, tell me, what does it take? I mean, what have you learned about storytelling?
I'll go first, I guess. To me, the most compelling new information, if you will, that we uncovered in the process of doing this is what actually happens as a story is being rendered, sort of the interaction between two entities. And to me, we have sort of entered as you mentioned, we've sort of entered the era where the world has come to accept this constant conversation about how important stories are to all of us. I call this the era of the story. And people are aware of it, and people, you read about it in the newspaper, and you encounter consultancies who are built around using storytelling as problem solving and all that. So the point is, the world has kind of opened its mind to this notion that stories are perhaps more important than we used to think they are. And what I have enjoyed about preparing to have the Storytelling That Can Change Your Mind come out is this idea that how engaged our minds actually are. And we've all grown up during the era of brain research. And what's cool is we have come to realize that when a story is being told, when someone is telling someone else a story, that the receiver, the listener, the audience, the mind is actually more parts of the brain actually become excited during storytelling than during other events in their lives. And so, in other words, it must mean something. Everything is lighting up inside a person's brain. Large sections of their brain are lighting up during the process of storytelling. And then, in addition to that, it would appear from the research that we've encountered at Washington University and other places that often parts of the brain in the storyteller's mind, the same parts, are actually syncing with the parts of the brain that are excited in the audience's mind when they're listening. And I find this, I'm not sure quite all where this is going, but I'm pretty sure it's going someplace cool in that we're on to something here that is really powerful in terms of a lot of our work, what we can talk to audiences about, and how they're going to receive what we say.
Well, it certainly, that would say a lot about the themed entertainment industry in that, you've got your thrill rides and, you get on a roller coaster, you have fun, it's exhilarating, it's, adrenaline rush and all of that. But what it sounds like you're saying is that the attractions that tell you a story in addition to all of that are almost more beneficial for a person because you're really engaging them on multiple levels.
Yeah, and that's I think that's where the increase in focus in stories definitely been going is that we've realized it's not just about building tallest. We've all realized it's not just about building the tallest and fastest, but how do you make it memorable? And there's the whole everybody talks about the digital age and how we're all focusing too much on our smart devices, and I think there's a big focus on creating memories, and that's a big part of storytelling, obviously, because then when you get home, you make a big point to tell your friends about all the cool stuff that you saw when you went to Orlando, or if you went hiking in Yosemite and all the amazing vistas that you saw there. It's become a way to create essentially bookmarks in people's lives.
That's a cool word.
It's just a way to mark people vacations are more deliberate and thought through more nowadays too. Mm-hmm. And so this is a way for people to essentially personalize their experiences at these locations.
So how does
you could argue there are varying levels of story depending on which park you're in and what type of park you're in, mm-hmm. and the difference between a hardware park and a highly themed park, and a park that's oriented more towards small children and a park that's more oriented towards family entertainment. But the point is that it now seems like there should never not be story elements. If one truly wants to create repeat visitation, meaningful engagement, and real memories. And so, first, it sort of proves you got to have it.
Right.
And then second, it sort of proves that the more you do with it, the more you're going to succeed with it. And, that there's no reason to stop doing it. There's no limit, no upside limit to how much you can do with the power of story. So it's just this new turn in the industry that's nothing but positive.
So, you've talked to neuroscientists, historians, storytellers. What is the one thing that you've learned from your research in working on this book that you can now take with you and apply to your projects moving forward in your company that you're really, sort of excited, like, oh, we have to do that from now on?
To me, it's probably the fact that we have to be mindful. I mean, not that we weren't, but we have to always be mindful about how the story is presented, and the fact that it generates a physical reaction in your brain mm-hmm. is all right. Then let's figure out multiple ways to have that story come out, whether it's with interactives, whether it's with a ride, your touch pools for animals. It's how do you bring all those different stimulus into your attraction so that it essentially enhances the overall story of the product?
Ricky, I think I understand your question, but I think I want to take a personal take on it too. What
Sure.
it means to me is not that it has caused me to imagine, can I find a new way, or can I find it, not that you would suggest this, but that can I find a new gimmick, or can I find a new twist? To me, what it means is I have to take it as a responsibility. I have to get it right. We've always thought that story was powerful. We always told ourselves that. But what we're learning, and as you say, we've sort of proven this by this neuroscience that we've encountered, is that we were right, and it makes you take a step back and say to yourself, we really have a responsibility to the audience to deliver, because we're messing with their minds.
Right, yeah.
As silly as it sounds, it's not silly at all. We're trying to get in there.
Yeah.
We're trying to move electrons around inside people's brains, and it comes with responsibility. You got to get it right. You got to try as hard as you can do to get it as good as you can make it.
Well, I think that's good news for all theme park fans, or fans of all these attractions, that there's going to be more elaborate experiences to look forward to in the future. And for those who want to learn more about what you've researched here, how can people get a hold of this book?
We have it up on our website, pgavdestinations.com.
Okay.
And we can probably share it. We'll share a link with you that you can post on your site.
Yeah, definitely. It's all fascinating.
We're not selling the book; we are distributing the book.
Okay.
So it's a serious piece of, it's a serious endeavor, but we mm-hmm. want people to think it. We want to make it available to people who are interested.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think a lot of people would be, you go to a theme park and you can experience it, and you had fun, or you took something away with it, but maybe you don't know why, and to hear about the science behind it is quite fascinating.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And the people who have already read it, we're getting some pretty cool reaction to it, including some industry insiders who are sort of like, wow, this is interesting. This is an interesting point of view to take, and I enjoyed reading it. So we're proud of it, and we hope it gets out there.
Fantastic. Well, I'm happy to help spread the word here. And, of course, that website, again, is pgavdestinations.com. And you can flip through different projects that you've worked on in the past and see some of your work. And, Al, Josh, thanks very much for taking the time to chat today.
Thank you, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic, listener feedback.
Hopefully you enjoyed that conversation with PGAV Destinations. A little bit sort of a step back behind the curtain, behind the themed entertainment industry, amidst all of the news that's always going on between Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Diagon Alley and everything else that's, just happened and is coming up. It is good sometimes to take that step back and really hear about how it all comes together. So there's that. Now let's move on to a little bit of listener feedback to round out this week's show, starting with an email from Susan from California, who was just here for Star Wars Weekends and actually experienced quite a lot from the event that I did not, some of the special packages and whatnot. So I'm going to read you her report from Star Wars Weekends to give you another perspective on the event beyond what I talked about on last week's show. So Susan writes, just a few observations here to begin with. Susan says, I noticed they are finally using the large video screen on the main stage to show what is happening, so the people aren't all cramming up in the front, who aren't cramming in the front can still see something. I wonder why they never used it this way for Hoopla. Good question there. Anyway, continuing on, I did try to some of the new experiences this year: the character dining in Hollywood and Vine, the Feel of the Force preferred viewing / dessert package, and Akbar's snack bar located in Darth's Mall shopping area. The character dining was pricey, but on par for other character experiences. If you don't want to stand in line to get photos and autographs with the characters, and you need to fill up on Star Wars themed fare like Darth Vader cupcakes, it is worthwhile. The Feel the Force package included preferred viewing area for the motorcade and the evening show, with sweets and refreshments included. Much like the fast passes for the shows, for both events you still needed to arrive early to get a really good spot. Since I'm only 4'7" tall, it's almost a waste of money, since I still get stuck behind people if you don't get there ultra early. For the motorcade, we were near the stage, but they dropped the barrier once the last car went by, so we had to push ahead with the rest of the crowd following the end banner. For the fireworks, it had a similar issue. You had a decent spot to see the stage, but if someone in the crowd between the barrier and the stage moved in front of you, you had to move around to see. Because the reserved area was fairly large, you could move around easily, which was the biggest advantage of getting this package. I was able to watch the stage show and then move to the back to watch the fireworks. I also had a secure place to set down my stuff while I ran around taking pictures. The package also included the event photos of all the celebrity guests and a photo pass with special downloadable images. Akbar's Snack Bar had its own 15 to 30 minute line of all the special items. Vader popcorn bucket, Stormtrooper Stein were available in other locations in the park. Even the special light side and dark side drinks were being served elsewhere. The only thing I saw unique was the glowing Death Star ice cube floating in the dark side drink, which I will actually just add a footnote there that I also saw that floating Death Star ice cube sort of plastic thing somewhere else in the park as well. So that wasn't even actually unique to there. Continuing on with her email, I noticed they also offered a VIP package for $400 plus. I guess that's good for someone who wants to see as much as possible in a day. If you can be there for 2 to 3 days, you can see all the shows, meet most of the characters, and spend that $400 instead in Darth's Mall. Personally, I like hanging out with the crowd and waiting in lines as long as they're not too long. I come in costume, so it's great interacting with other fans, sharing stories, and knowing that you're not the only person with 6 lightsabers in their closet. Susan, I can assure you, you are not, because I definitely have many lightsabers from all across the years, dating back to, forever, 20 years ago lightsabers to today's lightsabers, and build your own lightsabers and super duper special light up ones. And yeah, I've got plenty of those, so you're not the only one. So thanks for all the additional info from Star Wars Weekends. And actually, I'm just going to share one more thing this week since the show's running a little bit long, and that is a voice message from Maggie.
Hi, Ricky. It's me, Maggie Cameron. I haven't talked to you seen you in a very, very long time. I've actually been very busy with my senior year of high school. I'm actually about to graduate in about 2 weeks. But I actually have a big question for you. Because for my graduation present, I'm actually going to Disneyland, California for the first time, which I'm super excited about. But my main concern, and the only concern I probably have about the trip, is that I have very, very bad food allergies to the point where I have to carry an EpiPen on me at all times, and it makes eating out very, very difficult. At least at Walt Disney World, I have an easy time talking to chefs and getting ingredients for food to make sure I can eat some stuff and, make sure what I can't eat and can eat. And I really can't find anything for Disneyland. So is there any way I can contact them or talk to somebody to see if I can talk to a chef about food allergies? I know you probably maybe not have the answer for this, but maybe some of your listeners will have something to say. So I would love to hear what they would have to say. Ricky, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you for keeping everybody updated with all the stuff that you do for all the events, Disney or non-Disney. And just thank you for everything. Have a great day. Thanks.
Great to hear from you. I'm sure a lot of you remember Maggie's contributions to this show several months ago. Sounds like, as we all tend to do, she got very busy, and certainly congrats about graduating, and more importantly, congrats about going out to Disneyland for the first time. You were certainly in luck when traveling to Disney when it comes to allergies, because it's pretty much the same at Disneyland as it is out here at Walt Disney World with regards to them being very proactive about making sure that there are not going to be any issues for you. There's a phone number that you can call to discuss your dietary needs and requests with them, and that is 714-781-DINE, which is 3463. So you can certainly talk to them there, and then you can, if you don't plan or aren't able to set up any specific plans via that phone number in advance, you can still, of course, ask for, whatever chefs or whatever's necessary when you get there. But I know they are able to sort of pre-arrange certain foods, even put them aside in special plastic bags, and I know I've seen them do that for kosher meals. With I don't even remember when that was, but I know I've seen it. So they are quite accommodating. Is certainly the point here, just as much at Disneyland as out here at Walt Disney World. Certainly, you won't be able to eat everything naturally, and I'm sure you're used to that. But there's a whole page on the Disneyland website about dietary requests and certain restaurants that are good for being able to have alternative foods, etc. They do ask that for those who do require EpiPens, that you can alert people of that as much as possible, just in case anything were to happen. And of course, bring that with you, which you know already. So, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would give that phone number a call, discuss it with them, and you should be able to plan accordingly and have fun. Sounds like it's going to be a great trip, and that'll do it for listener feedback this week. We are at the end of show 477. During the 24-hour day, I went on the Carousel of Progress. First time I've done that in a while. Every time I do that, I feel like my podcast is ending repeatedly between every scene because this music comes on. And anyway, next week, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the show because I will be at Spooky Empire's Mayhem the entire weekend, all the days, including Sunday. So I may not record the show until Monday. So don't freak out if there's no podcast on Sunday. It will be coming. Certainly some fun Disney things going on at that convention that I'll probably share on next week's show once all said and done there. And of course, you can visit our website and YouTube channel to see some highlights from it as well. And certainly lots and lots of photos. I always take a bazillion photos there every year of all the great costumes and merchandise and celebrities and all that sort of thing. Always really, really fun. And there's a lot to look forward to coming up as well. Of course, outside of that, Diagon Alley could soft open at any moment. I mean, they're still putting a lot of finishing touches on it, so it's not going to be tomorrow. But as soon as that dragon has its wings and is breathing fire, that's one of those finishing touches that they are working on, amongst others. I saw the Hogwarts Express going around on the track today, blowing its whistle and steam coming out, and so they're actively making it all come together, which I'm really looking forward to getting in there sometime in the semi near future. And certainly, if for some reason there is no soft opening, middle of June is when I'm going to be in there for the big press preview event, as they're calling it, and then I'm sure they're going to talk about a grand opening at some point point during all of that as well. So lots to look forward to there. It is really the big story in the world of theme parks, so much more to come there. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's show. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And, of course, visit InsideTheMagic.net between each show here to find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. Definitely follow us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube for all that extra fun throughout the week. So thanks to all of you for listening each and every week. And have a magical week. Bye.
At the end of every day, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.